Be more curious than defensive. Brené Brown. Welcome to Self-Talk. I'm Rachel Astarte. Thank you for being here. Last season, we focused on building your foundation of self, and so now it's time to start living your foundation. And we're going to start today by exploring what I consider to be the base layer of that entire foundation of self, and that is genuine curiosity. In this case, we're using curiosity as a way of relating to yourself, to others, and to reality itself. Because without curiosity, the process of inquiring deeper into the self, our inner work, in other words, can turn into judgment. And judgment, no matter how necessary it sounds, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, judgment always tightens rather than frees. So that's why non-judgment is the number one pillar of foundation of self-work. In fact, let's recap those three pillars of the foundation of self, starting, of course, with non-judgment. This is the lifeblood of foundation of self-work. Suspension of judgment of yourself, your past, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, helps you to see them more objectively so you can adjust as needed. Judging ourselves only leads to shame. And if you think about it, you know what I'm saying is true. We judge ourselves and we start to feel badly about ourselves. And that puts the brakes on any inner work we do. Any healing we want to do, we can't do because our ankles are bound by judging ourselves. Okay, so that's the first pillar. The second pillar is awareness. This is the very act of noticing what's happening or what has already happened internally and externally without immediately reacting. We're just observing. Awareness is basically the process of observing, whether we're looking at our past or we're looking at our present. And the third pillar is gentleness. Once we see a misalignment or a behavior or thought process that doesn't gel with who we know our highest self to be, we bring gentleness to the process of creating change, right? So genuine curiosity rests on all three of these pillars, or should I say underneath all three of these pillars. So if any of those pillars is missing, our genuine curiosity gets reduced to analysis, criticism, or even control of a situation. Now, I know I'm speaking in the abstract, so we're going to look at what this actually looks like. Genuine curiosity is how we approach our lives with interest rather than accusation. That's a basic definition of it. So what does it look like? When you are looking at an aspect of your life that may not be in alignment, something that doesn't feel right to you, genuine curiosity in your inner dialogue can sound like, that's interesting. Or, I wonder how that came to be. Or, what might this part of me be trying to do or say? What's going on underneath all of this? Now, it's natural for humans to want to understand why things happen. That's attribution theory. It tells us that we're constantly assigning meaning and cause to our experiences. That makes sense, right? It's self-preservation. It's better to know your environment and learn from it. The problem isn't that we seek understanding. It's just that we often do it through judgment instead of curiosity. Now, we've talked about why we judge. That's in that particular episode, which you can find here. But again, judgment is also a survival instinct. So there are good aspects to being curious and good aspects to judgment. I have to judge whether or not the food in front of me is rotten before I eat it. I have to judge if that person foaming at the mouth and wielding a machete is safe to approach, right? If I don't judge well, I cease to exist. So remember, non-judgment is not the elimination of our instinctive appraisal of a person or situation, but it's the suspension of the othering response related to it. When we other ourselves, we shame ourselves. And that's not the direction we want to head in. It's the same thing when we get curious. If we're doing it from an intellectual pursuit, we can fall into the trap of control and judgment, right? I'm curious about this. Why'd you do this? You're getting judgy with yourself, right? We do it. Genuine curiosity is that, beginner's mind, child mind, right? So we don't want to head in that direction. The self is the source. I'm saying capital S self. The self is the source. So as we do inner work, we look at our lives and where we might be out of alignment. That's it. We're looking, what's not in alignment for me? If we look at where we're out of alignment with where or how or who we want to be, we can understand ourselves better. That's the purpose, is to understand ourselves better. And what a better thing to understand than one's own self. So why not, with this curiosity, meet that self with the eyes of a child, the beginner mind, or use curiosity the way a scientist would, with the heart of a scientist. Like, I want to learn more about this. Or the skills of an anthropologist who's observing a fascinating culture, right? This is the magic of genuine curiosity. When we use genuine curiosity for inner work, we become observers rather than defendants. This is crucial. This is the point. We're not interrogating ourselves. We're listening. True curiosity comes from the perspective of the highest self, the yes voice, the capital S self, the part of us that is spacious enough to assess what is out of alignment without shaming what it finds. So let's look at 3 examples of non-judgmental, genuine curiosity. Now, really notice how essential the non-judgment part is as you activate the highest self perspective and view each situation as objectively as, say, a mechanic fixing an engine. So let's say you're working with a repeating pattern, and this is where awareness comes in. You become aware of this part of yourself, and you say, I keep getting into the same dead-end relationships, for example. So rather than judging that, the genuine curiosity might kick in and say, that's fascinating. What part do I play in perpetuating these common themes I see in these relationships? There's got to be a common theme. So what part am I playing in keeping that going? Okay. That's genuine curiosity. Now you can see why non-judgment is so important, because you might end up judging yourself. Oh my gosh, I've been behaving really poorly in all my relationships. What a jerk I am. That's not going to help you. That's shaming, right? So if you're just, interesting. I know I haven't been speaking up. I haven't been speaking my truth in my relationships. I've put myself in a position to be a doormat, right? So we don't shame that. We say, that's fascinating, good information to move forward with, okay? So let's look at emotional reactivity, for example. When awareness gives us something like, and maybe a lot of us feel this particularly right now, I hate everybody. Like, I'm done. People piss me off. I'm not really happy about it, but I don't like people anymore. So the genuine curiosity might go, wow, okay. What part of me has closed off to other people? What part of me has closed off? Because clearly there's a part that says absolutely not. What part is that? Not defending. Well, people are jerks, and so I have to protect myself. No, we're not there. Just look at it objectively. Okay? Another example might be that inner critic voice that we've worked with so often on this podcast. But when awareness gives us something like, I'm not progressing fast enough in my inner work, which I hear a lot in my practice. I'm not going fast enough. I'm going over the same things over and over and over again. Genuine curiosity might go, interesting. Who's got the timeline here? Who holds the timeline of what is fast enough? Who says how long it should take you? So you see? Now notice that we're not asking ourselves about the topic itself. We're not asking questions to make you defend your case about why you feel a certain way. But rather, we're looking at the origin of the thought. So it's not why you hate everybody. It's what has caused that belief to emerge. Right? We're looking underneath the surface, like an archaeologist brushing away the soil that covers that gem-encrusted goblet of your true nature. You see the objectivity there. Interesting. I'm curious. I want to know more. And these are not the only questions we ask, of course. These questions begin a series of inquiries you can have with yourself. As you answer each question, more arise, and you keep answering and asking and answering until you make sense of what is at the root of your issue. All with non-judgment, all with genuine curiosity as to why you arrived at this or that place. And again, all this is to get to know yourself better, to realign what's out of whack. Hi, it's Rachel here. If you'd like to dive deeper into self-development, but you're looking for an alternative to traditional talk therapy, maybe you want to eliminate self-doubt and begin to live your true calling in this life. Maybe you're looking for community and connection. Then the Write Yourself Open program may be perfect for you. For a full year, we meet bi-weekly for guided meditation, reflective journaling, and group discussion. This isn't just another personal development course. Write Yourself Open combines the best of individual therapy, group therapy, creative arts, and spiritual practice. You'll have access to a private podcast of all the guided meditations so you can work with them whenever you want. You'll also get monthly one-on-one sessions with me for personal support, not to mention that community of like minds. Those aren't actually all the perks you get. So visit writeyourselfopen.com to learn more and to register. Join anytime. You don't have to have any previous meditation or writing experience. That's writeyourselfopen.com. Now, back to the episode. Now, that's you personally and internal work. Let's zoom out. Genuine curiosity doesn't just change how we relate to ourselves, but it actually transforms how we relate to others. So often we interpret people's behavior through the lens of the underdeveloped ego, right? The small s self, the critical, the drama-loving self. And we spin these nasty tales like, she didn't invite me because she doesn't like me, or he didn't respond because I said something wrong, or they're pulling away because I'm too much. Now, these narratives feel real because you've created them in your head and therefore now they're real, but they're narrow and they are fear-based. Genuine curiosity asks us to widen that lens. What else? So the question is, what else could be happening here? What context might I not see? What might this person be navigating in their own inner world? That's interesting. And it brings to mind Don Miguel Ruiz in his book, The Four Agreements. That offers us a really powerful reminder with his second agreement, which is don't take anything personally. Because really, most shit isn't about us. I mean, yes, we're all connected, but we're not all walking the same path. Each one of us is a spark of pure consciousness, having a human experience, learning whatever lessons we're here to learn, making our stellar trip-ups along the way. And when we stop, personalizing everything, we can see this truth more clearly. And when we do that, the nervous system relaxes, the ego softens, and then compassion and connection become possible again. It's a very interesting cycle. The awareness of we're connected, but we're not really connected. But as soon as we recognize each other as individuals, somehow miraculously, alchemically, we become connected again without being entangled, right? So, speaking of compassion, here's something really subtle but important. The compassion we offer others through curiosity is the same compassion we're learning to offer ourselves. We don't practice curiosity in a vacuum. We practice it in relationship. Relationship with the self, relationship with the other. And beneath all of it is a deeper truth. What's that deeper truth? It's the true foundation of the foundation of self. It's that understanding that we are not only individual personalities navigating private lives. We are ambassadors of Source, unique expressions of pure consciousness, the quantum field experiencing itself through form. Seen in this way, the act of being curious becomes sacred. We're not just learning about habits or wounds, we're witnessing consciousness discovering itself. What? We're all part of this great dance. And really, what could be more worthy of curiosity than that? So as you move through your days, I invite you to notice just one moment where you choose curiosity over judgment. Just notice. Just wonder. Listen to yourself in a way perhaps no one else in your life does. Your unconscious does not give a hoot who is listening to you. It doesn't determine the authenticity of the source. It simply registers the fact that someone is on your side. In this case, that someone is you. Taking the time to go deeper, to be curious, and to care. So try that over the next few weeks. When something pops up that you don't like about yourself, or you become aware of a habit you want to change, get genuinely curious about where that belief or behavior is coming from. Keep asking questions. And as always, be gentle with yourself. Now, if this foundation of self-work speaks to you, I do invite you to join us for Write Yourself Open. This is a twice-monthly class where we used guided meditation, reflective writing, and really supportive group discussion at each gathering. And this is a class that I developed almost 14 years ago now to keep the practice of your inner work alive and in a safe container of care and love. And we have awesome people that join us. And it's online. And so if you want to hear more about that and register, you can go to www.writeyourselfopen.com. And if you want to work with me one-on-one, that's also a possibility. Just visit www.foundationofself.com and I'll add the links to the show notes. Until next time, be well, be gentle with yourself. Hi, this is Rachel Astarte from the Self-Talk podcast. I'd love for you to send me your emails with questions or stories about yourself. What are you looking for? What are your questions? What are you grappling with in your own personal life that has to do with your identity, with yourself, with your very existence? These are the things that we're going to talk about during the podcast. And go ahead. It's all right. Get deep. I can handle it. So send them to Rachel@selftalkpodcast.com. And I'll see you on the next episode.